because
I'm
now
We're
we
live,
are
yeah.
live. Hi, Jazz. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing, Anna?
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. So let me introduce you to everyone. Well, my name also is Ainoa. I'm the immigration lawyer, and I have here with us to Jazz. He will now explain us his profile because I think it's very interesting. So he's been a client of us. He has been also been a student for Berkeley. Is
Yeah.
also a very good school in Valencia that I want just to explain what it is because people from music and movies and all that will
Yeah.
know it, but maybe some other students will not.
Yeah.
And well, he's going to explain how he got the entrepreneur visa, okay?
Yeah.
Because I think it's very interesting for you all to understand a little bit all the process because this is normally the doubts you have because you come as a student, you finish your studies, and then you don't know if you should do a freelance visa or entrepreneur visa. In this case, we did entrepreneur visa, but just will explain you. We had the freelance visa as a backup plan, okay,
Mhm.
because sometimes we meet requirements for both of them. Sometimes we are clear that we just go to a freelance visa. But when I have doubts, I usually recommend, like I did with Jazz, to go through the entrepreneur visa because it's quicker and a little bit more comfortable. Okay, it has some more advantages. It's not a huge difference. Okay, so don't panic if you don't have a business that is not to go through the entrepreneur visa. But it's true that if we can go through entrepreneur visa, it's a little bit more comfortable. People that resolve it normally are a little bit more like they have more knowledge in business because it's the Ministry of Economy that resolves your business plan. While if we go through the freelance visa, it's the immigration office from the place that you live in. So it's not that there are mm, bad, but they are not so specialized in studying a business plan. And sometimes it's more difficult when they are not specialized. Sometimes they can understand better a business if they are more specialized in business plans and everything. And that is what happened with Yes, that even he will tell you, we even got a requirement, so they wanted more information, and this is something that Yes and I were talking about. That was good because at least they were considering and they wanted more information. If they don't ask and they resolve very quick, sometimes it's because it's clear that it's an approval, but sometimes it's clear for them that your project shouldn't be going through entrepreneur visa. And don't worry, you can go through freelance visa. So the good thing about having a lawyer is that will tell you the differences and you will understand that maybe it's just that you have different visa options, and it's just picking up the one that is better for you. It's not that one is better than the other. One is better for your case than others.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, sorry for this big introduction. So
No,
let
no.
us know who you are, please.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm Yash. So my background is in the music industry, more specifically the tech side of the music and entertainment industry. And I am originally from India, and I came to Valencia to study a master's at Berkeley College of Music, and it was a master's in the music business. So think of it like an MBA, but for the music industry.
Exactly.
And I mean, after the course, I was considering my options to kind of stay in Spain. I mean, obviously I don't have to say this, but it's an incredible country. Great culture, amazing place to set up your business, and just to live your life, honestly. So that's when I got in touch with Sterna and with Ainoa. So we had our first meeting then, And we first decided to go for the Búsqueda de Empleo, the job seekers visa, which gives you 1 year of time after your master's, because usually what happens is when you're studying, it's very stressful and you don't have time to think about visa and immigration, right? And jobs. So the job seekers visa gives you 12 months to formulate a plan, and it just gives you some breathing space. So you have different options. You can either be employed, you can be an autonomo, like a freelance visa, or you can go for the entrepreneurship visa. Broadly speaking, those are the three options.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I kind of, started this entire process 6 months in. So I was actually checking my inbox, and my first email, just to kind of start the process, was early January, around that time. So and I got my resolution right now, like in July. So you can kind of get a sense of how much time it takes to more time to honestly gather the documents. So I think you need to keep that in mind. And I would say that the main thing that Sterna or just legal professionals help you with is understanding practical aspects. So, for example, there are many things that are said legally. Like, so if you look at the procedure, they'll say, okay, it takes 20 days to get resolved, and they'll state all of these things. But practically, it works in a very different way. And there are many things that are unsaid, that only a lawyer will help you find out. There are a lot of these unsaid rules. For example, what the like to get your business plan approved, what exactly do you need to show in your business plan? Uh, like one tip that I don't know if you remember, but you gave me was it's better to show a lower number and be realistic rather than
Yeah.
showing a higher number and not having proof. So, for example, initially,
For the
in my
renewals, I was thinking
yeah.
already in the renewal.
Yeah, absolutely. Because initially I was very excited. I was like, okay, I'm going to show the maximum economic impact in Spain, 15, 20 jobs and X amount of euros in revenue and, all of these things. But the reality is like the authorities really pick up on that. So it's better to say that I'm going to create 2 jobs and then actually create those jobs rather than saying I'm going to create 20 jobs and,
Exactly,
uh,
exactly.
yeah,
And this is a good thing that you mentioned, because a lot of people are scared about that, about, okay, I don't have a huge,
yeah,
I'm not going to have a huge organization. It's not
yeah.
needed, okay? It
It's
really,
not needed.
they will focus in the value of your idea, of
Yeah.
what you bring as an entrepreneur, not because yes, you give employment to 15 people, because that is not common at all. Okay, all the entrepreneurs that I've done, I think one one had all those positions, and all the others are a little more, little, there are little, but that they could go bigger. But that is the problem
Yeah.
about the renewals that Jas was talking about, because renewals are tough in the entrepreneur visas, because they
Yeah.
really study what you said. And okay, you can have some differences, but
Yeah. Yeah.
if you said that you were creating 20 jobs and you created
Yeah.
two, it was not realistic. And now you, yes, you did it very well, because it was not huge, and you see that it was very good result.
Yeah. And these are the things that only a legal professional can tell you. That's what you have to realize. Like, especially with these subjective applications. When it's a búsqueda de empleo, it's a different thing because there
Yeah,
there
it's
is no
very
subjective
clear.
element. Yeah, it's very clear. Like you need a medical insurance, you need, basic things, right? But with the entrepreneurship visa or with the freelance visa, it's, I mean, absolutely crucial to have, to have professional help.
So let me explain a little what were we doing as a strategy for the
Yeah.
people that are thinking about. So as just tell you, yes, it's true that times are a little confusing, because if you read the entrepreneur law, you see that it's 20 days. But really, if you read in depth, you see that highly qualified worker visas, yes, it's 20 days directly, no doubt. But for the entrepreneurs, the process is divided in two, okay? The first step doesn't have a time. That is the problem. That the first step, which is that the business plan goes to the Ministry of Economy, they could take 2 weeks. That sometimes it happens, but they could take also 2 months, and they don't have a limit time. They try to be quick, because this is quick for immigration, but it's not mandatory for them. And then when they tell you, okay, your business plan is valid to go through this path, through the entrepreneur visa, it can take until 20 days. Yes, only took you 1 day, right? It was very quick once they, for the second step, because I informed just that the first step was approved, and that the second step, once you got the first step, the Ministry of Economy approval of your business plan, the second step, if you don't have criminal records and everything is okay, it's going to be approved. Don't worry, because the important part is the first step. But for you to understand the timing, okay? But at the same time, we were preparing everything for the freelance visa for Jazz, because we were not, for those who haven't seen like our explanations, freelance visa is for any kind of permit, okay? For any kind of business that can be profitable, okay? So a bakery is okay, I don't know, an IT business is okay. Whatever you are going to do with your life is going to be approved by the freelance visa. But maybe you can also have the entrepreneur visa option, because those who are going to bring innovation to Spain, or are going to have an impact in the economy or in the society in Spain, can go also through the entrepreneur visa. So I thought, and Jazz will tell us if he wants a little bit about his business. I thought that entrepreneur visa for him could work, but I wasn't sure, because I'm not the Ministry of Economy, and as you see, this is a little bit abstract. Bringing innovation to Spain or having an impact in the society, on the economy, is not so clear, okay? And Jazz will tell us. So at like a backup plan, we were preparing the freelance visa, because really the requirements are very similar, okay? So we need a business plan, we need clients, we need financial means to be able to carry out our business plan. So the only thing that differs is what is our business plan about, to see if we can go through the entrepreneur, and the way of application, because entrepreneur visa can be applied online, okay? So you can organize a little better how you want to do it. You can be outside at that moment, you can be here, whatever. But in the freelance visa, is in person. So we were with Jazz, we were organizing for an appointment, like in the very end of his permit, because you need to have the permit valid, and that is very important, because you are like used to be able to renew your permit in the next 3 months from expiration. But for the freelance visa, you cannot do that. For the freelance visa, you need to have the valid NIE. So we were getting the appointment. The important is getting the appointment. It doesn't matter if the appointment is after expiration, if you have made the appointment before expiration. So we were making the appointment. It was in Valencia or in Madrid? We were making the appointment. Valencia, because it's where you are going to be settled. So, but we end up not needing that appointment for the freelance application, because we had the entrepreneur visa approval on time. But if we didn't know the answer yet, we were going to do the application of freelance visa, and because you can always say, I don't continue with the freelance visa application, thank you immigration, but I I don't continue with this application because I have the entrepreneur visa approval. And this is very important because people think that they cannot have two permits at the same time, applications at the same time, and it's the other way around. You should to
Yeah.
be sure that you are playing all the strategies that you can,
Yeah.
right? So
I actually see
mhm.
I see some questions about like people want to know what the project was, so maybe I can
Yes, of course,
share.
please, so they
Uh,
can have an idea of
yeah,
a project that qualifies.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So again, I can kind of pick up where I left off in the story. So I was on the Búsqueda de Empleo, and in January we started thinking about options, right? And my business is essentially providing content and consultancy for music tech startups. So I'm a writer myself. I have my my own newsletter, and I kind of write for other like magazines, like these music business magazines like Billboard and that kind of stuff. And I also consult with music tech startups and startups in Silicon Valley. So these are mostly American companies, in San Francisco or New York, who I work with. So this can be writing, it can be strategy work about the music industry, things like that. And I mean, essentially, I'm at this point a one-person company. I do have some part-time people, who are kind of helping me with research, like research analysts, interns, that kind of thing. But it's a one-person thing, and I reached out to Ainoa saying that okay, we should do the freelancer visa because this makes sense. I'm an autonomo. I have these different clients, and Ainoa actually told me that okay, like because you're working in technology and because you're working with these tech companies, what we can do is we can frame your so instead of thinking of yourself as a freelancer, as an autonomo, think of yourself as a company with all of these clients. So maybe we can apply for the entrepreneurship visa as a consultancy company for tech, you know, and show how, the innovative aspects and things like that, which are important, of course. So that's how we structured it. So if you think about it, like if you're a freelancer or currently and you work in the tech sector or you work in something innovative, it need not even be tech, it can be something innovative. Your process is innovative, your work is innovative. I would say that you can apply for the entrepreneurship visa because I'm not a company, like, and I still got approved. Like, it's not like, and in fact, in the application, we stated that I'll start as an autónoma and then create a sociedad limitada, which is
Exactly.
like a
Yes,
Spanish LLC,
exactly.
right? And that's totally fine. So you have to understand that it's a residence for entrepreneurs, not a residence for companies. So it's not like you have to have a
Exactly.
company. Yeah.
And also something very important that you are saying, that normally your clients are outside, something that is
Yeah.
becoming very usual and something that people are afraid of. Okay, I have clients, but they are outside. Do you think they
Yeah.
will approve this? And you can see that yes, okay, it's true that, for example, sometimes in the freelancer permit, they are a little bit more reluctant because they are less used to business things. Is what I tell
Yeah.
you. In the freelance visa, the person that is approving this is not very well educated in business. No, they do a lot of
Yeah.
things, so for them it's a little bit different to what they usually do, and clients outside can be a little bit more difficult. In any case, we do it, okay?
Yeah.
But
So
I
I would,
told just that for the entrepreneur visa, it's even more easy for them to understand that your client is outside.
yeah. So I would just add one thing, like even though it's not compulsory to have Spanish clients, and it's completely fine to like 95% of my company's revenue comes from outside Spain at this point. But having said that, it's very, very important to have links to the Spanish economy. So, for example, I made a lot of like, I was talking to people in the Valencian startup ecosystem. I got a letter of support from Camara, which is like, it's like a chamber of commerce for Valencia, and they're supporting
Exactly.
innovation in Valencia. I also had a contract with a Valencian startup, which helped. I mean, the founder was a friend, so we kind of did a favor,
Well,
uh,
but
but but
business is
that's,
having
yeah,
connections. That is
exactly,
business.
exactly. So I would encourage, like, if you're doing the entrepreneurship visa, make connections in the city or the state or the comunidad that you're going to do business in. It is not, again, like I said, it's not compulsory, but it will really help. It will
Really, a lot.
really, yeah. And getting letters from government. So it's one thing to get your clients to do support letters, and support letter is basically a letter from a company that says, a company or person that says, okay, we know Yash and he will add innovation to the startup ecosystem, that kind of thing. But it's very important to get a government body, some kind of government, like Camara, for example, is a government body. It's in the it's in the finance ministry or in the Ministry of Industries. And that is very important, because when the immigration sees that, oh, okay, it's not other people saying it, it's actually someone from the Spanish government who's saying it,
Exactly.
they kind of think, okay, this is good.
Exactly. And how did you do did that connections for people to know?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually went to the Camara office in Valencia. It's close to the Ayuntamiento, and I started asking around. And there's a program in Valencia called Invest in Valencia. So this is specifically for foreigners who are setting up companies in Spain to attract investment in Spain, right? So I went there. Really nice people. They're actually looking to help you. So I always thought that, you know, what's the point? I go to the Ayuntamiento, like, why would they even talk to me? I always thought that way, but I actually went one day, and they're the most friendly people. They'll actually, sit with you. You can explain your case.
Did they
And
speak in English?
yeah, they did, yeah. But Invest in Valencia, because it's actually designed for foreigners. I think they have two people who speak perfect English. So if someone in the audience is from Valencia, I'm happy to make an introduction, connect you with them, and they can write you a letter for sure.
Thank you so much. Yes. So just for you to understand, Invest in Valencia is part of Invest in Spain, I imagine. Okay,
Yeah,
Invest in
yeah,
Spain is more general. Okay, and then they should have their offices in main cities. Okay, so if in your cities there is an Invest in Valencia, Barcelona, Zaragoza, wherever, it's perfect. You can go. If not, we can go directly, and I've done it with some other clients, to invest in Spain, okay? Because maybe
yeah,
we don't have so many offices in all the cities that you are, but you will always have this kind of organism that Jazz is saying. In this case, was more comfortable, okay? It's in Valencia, but don't worry if you don't have in your city, because we have an Invest in Spain in Madrid that really covers all
yeah,
the country, and is what they try. They try to get entrepreneurs to Spain, and this is important also what Jazz was saying. They spoke in English, and also for the entrepreneurs application, we can apply in English. The business plan can be in English. It's true that there are less people resolving business plans in English than in Spanish, but it's not a problem at all, okay? For the freelance permit, must be in Spanish, okay? It's
yeah,
a more simple business plan for the freelance visa, but must be in Spanish. In the entrepreneur visa, can be in English.
yeah. And it's a 2 year. I think you mentioned this, I know, but it's a 2 year. Like the entrepreneurship permit is a 2 year permit,
Yes,
and
I didn't
autónoma
mention
is a.
it, but very good. You see, my clients are better
Yeah. Um.
better teachers than I am.
Uh.
So
Yeah.
yes, freelance visa is 1 year. Entrepreneur visa is every 2 years. So, well, I will tell you. I will publish tomorrow or after tomorrow. Some modification of the immigration law that has been published today, and I think I need to verify, but I think that once you renew the freelance visa now, because the first freelance visa is going to be for a year, and entrepreneur visa is for 2 years,
Yeah.
but now I think all the renewals are going to be for 4 years. I was reading it today, but I didn't have time enough today because I was with clients, and tonight I will study, because it's been published today, some modifications that try to make things easier for all of you. I will publish an article, and also I will do next week, because for sure there are a lot of doubts about all the new modification. It's going to start in 20 days, no, in 40 days. I think in 40 days, something 20 or 40 days after publishing the law. So I will let you know some other. Until now, was freelance visa was 1 year, and after 2 years and 2 years. Entrepreneur visa is every 2 years. And all of you, you know that after 5 years, we can apply for the long-term residency, and that the student time counts towards the long-term residency for the European Union long-term residency. So yes, you have been one as a student, right?
Yeah.
One as a student, that counts 50%.
Correct.
One as a búsqueda de empleo.
Yeah.
Now you will be 2 years as entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and well, in the middle of the next 2 years, we can apply for the long-term European Union residency.
Okay. We don't need 5 years?
Yes, 5 years. But so you have one of búsqueda de empleo.
Correct.
You will do 2 more now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you renew it, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So is 3. You have half as a student, because one of a student is half. So you have 3.5. So before having to renew the second time your entrepreneur permit, you will be able to apply for the European Union long-term residency.
Yeah.
Which makes things easier, because you can live and work in any other part of Europe easily. It's not automatic, but it's much more easy.
Yeah.
And also because you will have you will be able to work or not work. So here we are talking about renewal of the entrepreneur visa, and that you have to meet a little bit what you said and everything.
Yeah.
Once you have the long-term European Union residency, you can forget about that. You can get a 1 sabbatic year, and you will be fine if you want.
Retire in Mallorca.
Exactly. You can be retired in Mallorca and get expired. Let's see what Eric said. Hello, I know. Can you work in other fields besides the occupation stated in your visa application? Yes. And under which your visa was approved. For example, in the Czech Republic, where I currently live and work, my visa application was based on working as an English teacher. Okay, yes, you can. They don't check that. Okay, they don't check if you continue being an English teacher or you become a musician. And something important about the entrepreneur visa, you can also be an employee. So just imagine that. Now that you are an entrepreneur, you get an offer of a company that just wants you as an employee for 10 hours, but it needs to be an employee because sometimes in the companies they have different rules. Okay, you could at the same time. So as long as you follow your business, as long as you continue being consultant or whatever you say you are going to be, at the same time you can be an employee. Okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
So another good thing.
Yeah, I'm checking the questions actually.
Okay. Let's.
We have one more.
Will I have to do the entire visa application process again? No. You can change your activity. Okay, don't worry. Okay. I currently have a U.S. passport and the process of trying to obtain Mexican passport, but do not know how long it will take. Or will I have to do the entire visa application process again with the Mexican passport? Okay, very good question. So let me explain you this. When you have dual citizenship, this happens. When you are from the US, for example, or from India, you need to wait for 10 years to apply for the Spanish passport, okay? But if you have dual citizenship, Mexico, for example, you can apply for after 2 years, okay? So the law says, I'm going to tell you what Jas was telling you. I'm going to tell you what the law says and also what is happening, okay? The law says that when you have the residency as in this case, US citizen, okay, or in India, you need to apply after 10 years because you have that residency with that passport, okay? But they are doing the other way around. They are having a flexible criteria, and even if you have the residency with your Indian or your US passport, okay, if you have another passport, you will be able to apply after 2 years. And this is not in written because the law says the other way around, but was recorded in like a live speech that the director of the area of citizenship gave, okay, online. The problem about that is that, okay, the person could change, and I don't love that situation. So I always try to switch you if we can. Sometimes works and sometimes they don't answer. In a renewal of a residency, in any process that I do in immigration, at that time I try to switch your your passport in the residency, okay? And that is the safer way to do it. But I've done applications with dual citizenship, having the residency from the US and showing the other passport, and I've been always approved, okay? But I don't love the situation because the law says the opposite, but they are doing it in having a flexible criteria. So let's what was saying in the how do we put that question again? I don't know.
Yeah.
When I need to renew the visa, can I do it with it? Yes, I will try that, okay? I strongly recommend that. If I live 1 year in Spain under the US passport, they obtain the Mexican passport, will the one? Yes, it will count towards the 2 years, but try in that renewal to modify it because it will be better for you, safer. And if you don't get an answer, or if they renew it as a US citizen, do the application, okay, after 2 years because it's going to work. But as I told you, if you can switch, better, okay?
Yeah.
Petty say, hi, I know I signed in the contract for a student permit renewal today. I'm wondering if I can apply for an entrepreneur freelance before finishing my studies. I was told today that my time as a student does not count towards the time of residency permit. I live in Valencia. So let's clarify terms, okay? So student time doesn't count towards nationality. So Spanish citizenship, okay? Student time doesn't count. So also a student counts only for the European Union long-term residency in a 50%. So you know there are in Spain 2 long-term residency, the normal one, the Spanish one, and the European Union one, okay? So the time as a student counts in a 50%, but only for the European Union one, not for the Spanish one. And what is the difference between the European Union one and the Spanish one? That the Spanish one doesn't require stable financial means. So for the Spanish one, you only need to show, you need to have a residency. So you cannot be 10 years. Well, the Spanish, for the Spanish one, you need to be resident for 5 years, resident, okay? And that is the only requirement, not being out 10 months in the last 5 years. Be careful with that, okay? Because when you are a student, sometimes you go for 3 months to your country. And if you go for 3 months every year, you will be out of the time, okay? Because it's 10 months out of Spain in the last 5 years, okay? For the normal one. The good thing is that they don't ask for financial means. So if at that moment you are not working, this is the permit that you should apply for. The long-term European Union one. Okay, the student counts half, okay? But you cannot be 10 years as a student and apply for the European Union long-term residency. You at some point need to change to a residency, okay? And once you have changed to residency, yes, you can. So imagine you can be 9 years as a student, okay, that will count in 4.5, and half a year of a residency, and you will be able to switch to European Union long-term residency. But you have to be working, okay, as an entrepreneur, as a freelance, as an employee, but you need to show stable financial means, okay? So that is what I was, and I'm from Honduras. So will the 2 years as a student count towards the residency? For nationality, no. The student doesn't count for nationality, but it will count for the European Union long-term residency. What happens is that normally someone from Honduras or all Latin American countries that can apply for 2 years, they never reach the long-term residency because they never reach the 5 years, because normally you do 2 years as resident and you apply for the Spanish passport. That's why you normally don't reach the long-term residency. An Indian citizen, a US citizen always applies for long-term residency because they need to be another 5 more years in order to apply for the Spanish passport if they want it. Because, for example, an Indian citizenship needs to give up the Indian passport to apply for the Spanish passport. That is a big decision. A Latin American citizenship doesn't need to give up that passport. You can have the dual citizenship. So that are the differences. I will explain you another day. Giving up your other passport is not so clear because you say that to Spain, but maybe India or for sure the US doesn't recognize that you have given up your passport from your own country. It's not that easy, especially in the US that I have more citizens from the US. That is not easy at all. But well, that we will speak about in other day. So let's see if there are other questions about entrepreneurs that just can help
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, otherwise I was thinking of talking about just the timeline, from the
Of
start
course.
of the application to the finish, just to give
Go
people a
on,
sense of
please.
how much so you have to keep in mind that, like, when I started in December, late December, January, I thought I'm too early. I thought, wow, like, it's 6 7 months. Like, my TA was expiring on July 15th. So you tend to think that, okay, I'm very early, like, why should I rush right now? But it's very, very important to know that it takes that much time. So gathering the documents will take a lot of time, so you have to keep that in mind. So start applying for those letters of support, and for
Exactly.
example, if your existing contracts are in English, you need to get them, it's better to have them translated in Spanish, just to kind of have those two versions.
We will help you,
um
don't worry, yeah? But yes,
yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
And just keeping all these documents ready, for example, the person who has signed the contract from your client's end, you need their ID proof, so their passport or their something like that. These small things, you think that, okay, it's just one document, but they actually add up, and it you don't realize how the time flies.
Yes.
So I would say that it's better to be uh, early always. I think with any Spanish administrative process, it's generally nicer to be early, because you don't have the anxiety of your expired TA, and then what are you going to do between then. For example, I travel a lot to the US and within Europe also for work. And for me, I always had this thing about, okay, if my TA expires, even though my freelance visa is in progress and all of these things are happening, it's a little complicated. You can travel with the regresso. There are ways to do it, but it's complicated. So I would suggest applying early, getting help early, uh, setting up a timeline. Like, I feel just because you have a lawyer doesn't mean they will, you can't hand it's a two-way process. You have to help the lawyers, and the lawyers will help you. And I know in our team, incredible. Juan, everyone is just amazing. Lucia, but you have to understand
Thank you
that
very much.
you have to understand that you have to give them enough data, and you have to be proactive also. It's never one way. It's like some people think, okay, now the lawyers are handling it, and they forget about it. And then 2 months after their TA expires, they suddenly wake up, and they realize that it's too late. But yeah, it's very important to like have that communication, constantly follow up, make sure everything is all. I made an Excel sheet with all my contracts, the translated versions of those contracts, uh, just all the details, just to keep it easy for everyone involved. And doing those small things uh, is very, very important. So yeah, I would say two things. One is have a process, communicate well with your lawyer, and be organized with these things, because at some point it becomes overwhelming. There are too many documents, there is too much happening. You have your actual business to run. You're
Exactly.
not I feel like make sure you do all of these things, and you should be fine.
And for example, yes, I remember at what time, at what point, because I normally do the consultation with you, but then I have
Yeah,
a big team
yeah,
behind,
yeah,
to help my
yeah,
client every day, because if I'm here or doing another consultation, someone must be working in your contracts, in your business plan, in
yeah,
everything. So we are normally teams of three, okay? So
yeah,
just was working with my team, and at some point he wanted to talk to me, like to again review and have an overall picture again, and again review our backup plan, and it's perfectly fine. So
yeah,
is what he's saying. Be in touch with your lawyer, and if you have any doubt, don't hesitate. So we are happy. We are here to help you. And if you are talking with one part of my team, but you at what point want to review what I told you in the beginning, tell
yeah.
me, and we have one or whatever, all the calls that you need, because it's important, the communication, as just was saying.
Yeah, yeah. And the Sterna team is, I mean, it's incredible. Like, I mean, of course, I have had a positive experience, so I have
Yeah.
positive memories, and immigration is complicated. So
Yeah.
what you have to understand is that a positive result is not guaranteed, but a good process is guaranteed. A good
Very.
attempt.
Yes,
So
thank you. Yes.
you can be confident that, okay, the process, like we did whatever can be done realistically, and now it's up to the immigration authorities, right? Nobody can guarantee you uh, a positive result, but people can guarantee you high quality work, documents in place, basic things in check, all of these things. Especially again, like when you're running your own business, you want some support on the to help you with these things. You don't want to be worried 24/7 about your visa application. You want to know that there's a team of people who's handling this for you, so yeah, don't hesitate to communicate. And I mean, again, I'm happy to, like, if people want to reach out to me for a personal review or opinion, I can, I'm happy to talk to anyone,
Are you
and
in contact with more students from Berkeley? Do you help each other with your experiences?
little bit. Some students are now coming to me and asking me things. I think one thing I've realized is, again, with this timeline thing, when I started in January, people were asking me, why are you starting so early? Why are you so nervous? Why are you, it's so, I mean, the 6 months, you can easily do it, things like that. But now today, those same people come to me and say, oh God, my TA has
Yes.
expired. What do I do? You know?
Yes, because
Uh,
for example, 2 months is very little, very little,
yeah,
very little.
yeah,
And we don't have the 3 months after expiration for this kind of application. So must be
yeah.
done before, and it's true. Time goes very, very, very
Very
quick.
fast. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, timing is everything. There are students who are kind of looking to do this. I think they're confused again. What we started with initially, the autonomo versus freelance versus an entrepreneurship. They're confused, like which one to choose. But I think we kind of explained it. I know you explained it very well
But maybe you
initially.
can
So
What do
I
you
could.
understand?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So for me, it was pretty clear. Like, main differences are, one, the visa is longer, the residencia is longer, right?
yeah,
So the entrepreneurship one is a 2-year permit, the freelance one is a 1-year permit.
exactly.
Second thing is the committee that selects the entrepreneurship visas is modern and forward thinking. They understand innovation, they understand technology. The people who select the freelance visas, they're a little traditional. So they're more for if you're like a barber or you're opening a coffee shop or like,
Exactly.
I don't know, some shop like that, then, they're for that kind of thing. But if you're innovative, you're a digital nomad, you're, you know, doing something that's a little more tech forward, then definitely go for the entrepreneurship one. The business plan can
Exactly.
be in English. Um, it's different because it's from the if you're in Spain already, which so I was in Spain already on a Búsqueda de Empleo. Your application goes to a committee that's the unit of big enterprises. I mean, that's the English translation.
Unidad de grandes empresas. Yes,
Claro.
very good.
Yeah. So that committee is much better than the regional committees that pick the freelance visa. So, for example, I know you were telling me that in Valencia, again, no reason to get worried or anything, but in Valencia, sometimes the committee that picks the autonomo or the freelance visas, they can be a little tricky,
Yes, it's true.
and things like that. Whereas when you do a entrepreneurship one, Unidad de Grandes Empresas, very clear, modern people, relatively quick. I mean, my application took 2 months, but the minimum time that a freelancer visa takes is 3 months, right? Minimum.
Very
Um,
minimum, huh?
yeah.
Very.
Yeah. So imagine you're in a position where your TA expires in July. If you're a student, it'll probably expire around this time. You're in Spain, you're of course you're legal because the application is happening, but for 3 to 4, 5 months, you
Yeah,
don't have a proper situation. So if
you are
you
in
travel a lot
process.
for work, yeah, exactly. If you travel a lot for work, it becomes complicated. So I would suggest doing the entrepreneurship one. Oh, one more thing that we forgot is you can get your family members on the
Ah, yeah,
entrepreneurship one.
exactly.
Very important. Yeah,
Yeah.
very important. I think I know you can explain this one. The family membership thing.
Well, really, it is something that a lot of people prefer if they can, because you can bring your husband or your wife and the children, okay, even if they are older than 18, just if they
Yeah,
depend on you, and everyone can work. So, because it's very difficult to bring your family, and sometimes all the family, especially your husband and your wife, just waiting for you at home because
yeah,
they don't have a work permit. Okay, in the entrepreneur visa they have a work permit. They can work as an employee, as a freelance, as whatever. It's automatic
yeah,
in the entrepreneur visa. In the freelance visa, you don't you cannot have a permit for your family. Your family needs to apply for a different permit, the one that we think it could apply for them. And only after 1 year you can do what is called reunification. Okay, and after 1 year that they should at that point that you are doing the reunification, they will have to travel to their country. Okay, and they will be able to come back and work, but only after your first year is completed as a resident, and with this trip of going back, getting the visa from there and coming back. So it's much more comfortable than entrepreneur visa, for sure.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I think those are the main things. Like, it's just a faster, more efficient, more transparent process.
Mm.
Another thing I would suggest, if you're a student, which I don't know, most of the audience may be like, in university and things like that. Um, do the Búsqueda de Empleo first. Like, do not go from. I don't know if you can go from like
Yes,
student
you
visa to.
can. You can.
Okay. But my recommendation would be to do the Búsqueda de Empleo first, because it gives you time to set up all the right things, to get all the letters, to get yourself very, again, like I said, it's not compulsory, it's not necessary, but very important to show ties with the local startup ecosystem, to actually show that you have to understand that these people are very smart. Like the immigration people are really smart. It's not, like I said, you can't exaggerate and say I'll create 20 jobs and I'll have 3 million euros in revenue. You have to be very realistic. And if you add genuine value to the economy, and even if you show that you'll add genuine value and you're serious, and you're actually, all of the ties with the local entrepreneurs, all of that really, really helps. So yeah, I would suggest
For
taking the
sure.
Búsqueda
Me
de
too.
Empleo, taking
Yeah.
that 12 months, setting up the right application, and then because you have to understand, you can have the best law firm in the world, but they're still limited by what your business is, right?
Exactly.
Like, I know as amazing Juan and Lucia are amazing, but if my business is terrible, they can't do anything,
Well, or maybe it's good, but your clients are not willing to
Yeah.
sign things, so we
Yeah.
cannot prove
Exactly.
as well as we wanted. So
Yeah.
yes, you with a freelance visa and entrepreneur visa, which is the most difficult permit that we do, we can always have a denial, and we have very little denials, but there are. So
Yeah.
it is a very good thing to have a búsqueda de empleo, because if you first have more time to prepare it, and second, if there is a problem, maybe the denial is because of a mistake, but we have to do an appeal. So if we are doing all that and you don't have the búsqueda de empleo, you are like with no
Yeah.
permit. And with a
Yeah.
búsqueda de empleo, you are with a permit. In addition, with the búsqueda de empleo, you are starting to count for your residency, for long-term residency, for citizenship, for whatever. So you only have advantages, because
Yeah.
you will meet the requirements for búsqueda de empleo, because are the ones very similar to the student requirements. Okay, so
Yeah, it's a residencia, so it's like your stay as a student is a estancia or a stay, and búsqueda de empleo is a residencia, so
which
it's a
is better.
different, yeah, much better. Like I know I said, it counts for your your citizenship application. So definitely do that. Take the time, set up a proper application, start early, and I think take it from there.
Thank you. Yes, so only 20 seconds to answer to this last question. So when you are working for 6 months, okay, and you resign, you will not be able to renew, okay? You need to, if you have resigned, at least you need to be working again at the moment of the renewal. So you can be working 6 months and having a work at the moment of the renewal, or 9 months and not having a job at the moment of the renewal. So if you have worked 9 months, you are okay. If you have just worked 6 months, you must have a work at the moment of the renewal. And if you only have just worked 3 months, there is important. If you only have worked for 3 months and you have resigned, that is a problem. You will not be able to renew, okay? Only they renew when you only have worked for 3 months. They only renew you if you haven't resigned, if they just fire you, and you sign up for these programs that we have in Spain to look for a job, okay? For the unemployment offices that we have. So, but I will do another live about renewals, because there are new things about this new regulation that I told you about. I have to study today, and I will do it next week. But yes, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your knowledge. That is very
Thank
good.
you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I just wanted to like give a big shout out to Stedna and like your entire team. I'm super grateful. Like it's
Thank
been a
you.
long process, but absolutely worth it. And yeah, happy that you guys helped me out. Like I'm very grateful for that.
And we are very grateful to have you as a client, because he was very responsive and was always looking for the things that we needed, and very proactive, and this makes us like things much easier. Okay,
Yeah,
so thank you for everything, and we keep in touch for the renewal. Yes.
perfect. Amazing.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you.